Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the DFO Fantasy Show. It is Monday, October the 27th. I hope everyone had a fine weekend. We are going to dive right into week 4 of the fantasy hockey season today. We're going to be covering the news and notes. We got Brock's Lock of the Day looking to get back on track. And then we've got the week strength of schedule and streaming targets for this week. Because the NHL's got its little frenzy going on tomorrow, 16 games. The schedule is really weird this week. It makes streaming a little bit difficult, but there are a couple teams with 2 late night games, so we're going to navigate through those. But let's start with the news and notes. First, we'll start in Dallas with Roope Hintz. He suffered a injury on a big hit from Taylor Hall.
See, I see it as shoulder to shoulder. Major penalty under review. They're calling major penalty, which they should. They have that ability to be able to look at it, but oftentimes people...
So Hintz left the game on Saturday after that hit from Taylor Hall. Did not play on Sunday. It was Tyler Seguin, who is still available in 71% of leagues, who replaced Hintz on the top line and top power play unit on Sunday. So probably good for a short-term ad. We'll see what the update is on Roope Hintz's status. Let's continue with the news and notes as we've got Quinn Hughes, who did not play on Sunday versus the Edmonton Oilers. They didn't really have much of an update on him. Head coach Adam Foote called Quinn Hughes day to day. Next, we've got Robert Thomas, who left Saturday's game with an upper body injury. The Blues did not have an update on his status post-game, but they do play tonight, so expect an update this afternoon. We'll see if Thomas is in the lineup against the Pittsburgh Penguins this evening. Then we've got Dylan Strome. He left Saturday's game with a lower body injury. There was no real update on his status post-game, but head coach Spencer Carberry said that it was concerning. So take that as you will. It sounds like Dylan Strome likely going to miss some time on the Washington's top line. William Nylander, he was banged up, and then he was in warmups on Saturday. It looked like he was going to play. He ended up being a late scratch from Saturday's lineup. But head coach Craig Berube said that he hopes to have him back by Tuesday versus the Flames. So it doesn't sound long-term. The fact that he was able to take warmups on Saturday means he's probably pretty close, just wasn't quite feeling 100% after the warmup. Then we've got Roman Josi. He is out week to week with an upper body injury, but the Predators made it very clear that this injury is not related to his POTS diagnosis from the summer. So that's good news, but obviously big injury news for Roman Josi and the Nashville Predators. In his place, Brady Shea has been playing big minutes. He's also up on that top power play unit. Nicholas Hag also returned to the Predators lineup over the weekend to try to help replace Roman Josi. Obviously difficult to do. A couple more things to get to here. Next, we've got Ricard Rakell of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He underwent surgery on his left hand on Sunday and will miss 6 to 8 weeks. Rookie Philip Hallander was the one that skated in Rakell's spot on the top line in Sunday's practice. So look for him to skate with Sidney Crosby in Monday's game against the Blues. Jacob Markstrom returned as Jake Allen's backup on Sunday. So expect him to get some action during the Devils' 4-game week this week. I would imagine the way Jake Allen has played, especially during the injury to Jacob Markstrom, that these two will likely split starts moving forward, or they could even end up riding the hot hand, which is Jake Allen right now. Sticking with the New Jersey Devils, Brett Pesce was hurt in Saturday's game versus Colorado and did not travel with the Devils on their upcoming 4-game road trip, so he'll miss this week. Brett Pesce, not a huge fantasy name, but he's been having a big season, and he's somebody that can provide some peripheral stats. So I know he was owned, but obviously just a big loss for the Devils as a whole and their goaltenders, Allen and Markstrom, who I just spoke about. And lastly, we're going to talk about Patrik Laine, who underwent surgery to repair a core muscle injury and will miss 3 to 4 months. So unfortunately for Patrik Laine, has just had a very difficult time staying healthy over the years. He's going to be out long-term again. Now, Brock's lock of the day did not finish very well last week. After a 3-0 start to the season, we are now 0-3 in our last 3. That is just kind of the ups and downs of sports betting. But again, as always, the Brock's Lock of the Day is presented to you by our friends at 5v5 Hockey. They have a great prop model. Hopefully we can pick the right prop. They've got props for everything tonight, as always. And they have a 7-day free trial going on right now. So check out 5v5 Hockey, sign up, and get the prop model today. So just 2 games on the slate tonight. So, our options are relatively limited. But I'm going to go with Justin Faulk here of the St. Louis Blues. He's going to be my Brock's Lock of the Day. We're going Justin Faulk over 1.5 shots on goal. I don't know if I necessarily love the pick itself, but the line is really, really nice. At -105, it's pretty good value, I think. And Faulk has only hit this prop in about in exactly half of his games so far this season, but it really hasn't been for a lack of trying. He's averaging 3.9 shot attempts per game, so he's just got to get 2 of those on net, and we are in good shape tonight. And tonight he will face a Pittsburgh Penguins team that is giving him the most shot attempts against in the entire NHL, so it's a great matchup. They've also given up a lot of shots against to defensemen in recent games, so I really like Faulk's chances tonight of getting 2+ shots on goal. He's just, got enormous usage, playing 23, 24 minutes a night. And you get a pretty friendly line here at -105. So, basically the implied odds are about 50%, and that's been the case for him so far this season. So really like this spot for Faulk. Great matchup with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So Brock's Lock of the Day, looking to get to 4-3 on the season, over 1.5 shots on goal for Justin Faulk at -105. That's going to do it for Brock's Lock of the Day. Let's get to the Week 4 strength of schedule and streaming targets now. So if you aren't aware, we launched a new strength of schedule tool on dailyfaceoff.com. It's exactly the same as the one that I've always used in years past. Just it's available to you every day. What's really cool about it, if you haven't seen it yet, is it updates as the week goes on. So as soon as Monday's over, you get a brand new strength of schedule for tomorrow. And as soon as Tuesday's over, a brand new strength of schedule, so on and so forth. So even if you aren't planning your week out ahead of time on Monday and making those pickups like we're trying to get you to do right now, you can still pick up players later in the week that have great remaining strength of schedules. So you check it out at dailyfaceoff.com. I also release an article every single Monday outlining the best schedules for the week and which players to pick up. So if you'd rather read it than listen to it or watch it as you're doing now, you have that option available to you. So as I mentioned, as you see here, all 16 teams, or all 32 teams, are in action on Tuesday, 16 games, which really condenses the schedule, right? We've got only 2 games on Monday, 1 game on Wednesday, 3 games on Friday, and 5 games on Sunday. So our light nights are very light this week, very compact. And as you see here, you can sort by light nights. There's only 4 teams with 2 light night games this week. So our options are extremely limited. And to be totally honest with you, you've got the Anaheim Ducks, the Detroit Red Wings, and the New York Islanders. All 3 of them, their 2 late night games don't come until Friday and Sunday. So you really don't have to get ahead of it here and add these players. These are more weekend streaming targets. Depending on your league and the number of pickups that you have, you can be really flexible this week. If you've got an enormous amount of pickups, like you can stream guys here on Monday. You've got, the Ottawa Senators in a good spot against the Bruins. The Bruins, honestly, in a decent spot just with limited options against the Sens. Then this Penguins Blues game has the look of one that's being high scoring. So I would lean into some pickups early in the week from today's game. It's only going to be a 1-game stream, but with such few options, I would lean into trying to get a couple guys on Monday, maybe somebody from this Toronto-Columbus game on Wednesday, and then lean heavily into the pickups on the weekend. So again, you have to know your format. You got to know how many pickups you've got. There are some good options for this weekend. It's just a matter of who's available in your league and how many pickups you have to work with. But let's dive in. We're going to start with the Columbus Blue Jackets. They've got the best strength of schedule based on the teams that have 2 late night games. And as I mentioned, they're the one team that's got a game on Wednesday and then again on Sunday. So they're in a good spot here. They take on the Sabres on Tuesday, the Maple Leafs Wednesday, the Blues on Saturday, and the Islanders on Sunday. So overall, it's a pretty favorable schedule. And even if they, you could probably get them into your lineup on your non-light nights as well because the schedule is so good. Some of these players a little bit higher owned. Sean Monahan's 37% rostered. He has struggled to find the back of the net early in 25-26. He's goalless through his first 8 games, but again, has not been a lack of trying from him. He's averaging 2.75 shots on goal and 4.0 shot attempts per game. So the shot attempts is top 5 among his career. The 2.75 shots on goal is the highest volume of his entire 15-year career. So, given his 13.9 career shooting percentage, Monahan, you would expect to have 3 goals goals by now to go along with his 3 assists, which would translate to a 31 goal, 31 assist pace over a full season. So he's off to a really nice start. Just starts to have to, see that positive regression set in, start to find the back of the net a little bit more. The underlying metrics suggest that the positive regression is coming. He's skating on that top line with Voronkov and Marchenko. That trio has got really, really good underlying metrics together dating back to last season. It's carried over to this season. He's on the top power play unit as well. So, great streaming option. Obviously, only available in 63% of leagues. Chances of him being available in competitive leagues are pretty slim. But if he's available in your league, I really like Monahan this week. His line mate, Dmitry Voronkov, I'm also a big fan of as well. Been talking about him a lot over the last couple of weeks. He's up to 30% rostered, but he really stands out as one of the best streaming options this week, especially, in banger leagues. If he's somehow still available, he's averaging 2.4 hits per game in those categories. So he is a fixture in most banger formats already, but I think that he's probably available in a lot more standard formats. He's 6'5", 234 pounds, just a big body that just finally promoted. I was asking for him to get bumped back up to that top power play unit, and that's happened in recent games. So, big net front presence. He's riding a 4-game point streak. He's got 3 goals, 2 assists, 9 shots, and 11 hits during that stretch. So he's been on a bit of a heater. He's only been held off the score sheet once in 8 games so far this season. So he's off to a very nice start. And most of his production has come at 5v5, but the fact that he's been bumped up to that top power play, it really opens up the opportunity for him to be, a great player moving forward in category leagues. He can produce goals, he can produce assists, he can produce shots on goal, he can produce power play points, and obviously he can produce hits as well. A couple more Blue Jackets to get to. Boone Jenner, 29% rostered. He's mostly just a banger league target for me. The offensive ability is fine. But I imagine he's already owned in most banger formats, so the chances of him being available in those formats are probably pretty slim. He's quietly put together a pretty nice start. He's got 6 points in his last 7 games, 2 goals, 4 assists, 13 shots, 33 shot attempts, and 18 hits. So really nice production there, but not really any significant power play exposure, which really is going to limit his ceiling offensively. So I don't love Jenner this week outside of banger formats, but if you're desperate or if he's like the only one available in your format, a standard format, I think he's fine. He's a guy that's averaged 30 goals, 25 assists per 82 games over the last 5 seasons. So there's certainly some offense in there. And honestly, if he starts hitting the net a little bit more, he's only hit the net 41% of the shot attempts he's taken this year, where he's connected at about 59% for his career. So there is the opportunity or the potential for this volume to increase and for the the offense and the goal scoring to improve moving forward. The last Blue Jacket I'm going to talk about here is Kent Johnson. The second line with Jenner, with Fantilli, with Johnson, really had a quiet start to the season, but really put together a nice week last week. Johnson, 1 goal, 2 assists across 3 games last week, bouncing back from after just 1 point in his first 5 games. So I really like this trio of Johnson, Jenner, and Fantilli. They have very, very good underlying metrics together this year, dating back to the second half of last year when Jenner returned. The underlying metrics are really solid. So they have a legitimate chance to produce on a nightly basis. So I do like Jenner. I do like Johnson. The problem with Johnson is his low shot volume will always kind of cap his ceiling a little bit, but he's been, quietly productive over the last year and the start of this year combined. 61 points, including 26 goals over his last 76 games. He's got multi-positional eligibility, which might help you, get him into your lineup, fit him in during those non-light nights this week. So really good underlying metrics. I like Johnson as a streaming option this week, and he's the most readily available of the Blue Jackets. Chances are he's the one that's going to be the one that you're going to land on. The one you're going to end up streaming is probably going to be Kent Johnson. Let's move on now to the Detroit Red Wings, who don't have a ton of options right now to stream from, but they have a couple of really good ones, although they are a little bit higher owned. They have had just an absolute roller coaster start of the season. They've beaten some great teams. We recall the 4-game winning streak, the Lightning, the Maple Leafs, the Oilers, but then they just got destroyed by the Islanders. They had to come back from 4 goals down against the Blues over the weekend. So very weird start to the year for the Red Wings, but they've got some really nice matchups this week. They traveled to St. Louis on Tuesday, which obviously they just put up 6 goals against. In Los Angeles on Thursday, far from an ideal matchup, but then they close out the week with the 2 light nights. In Anaheim on Friday, in San Jose on Sunday, as good of matchups as you could really hope for. I really like the Red Wings this week, especially over the weekend of those 2 light night games. Emmett Finney up to 38% rostered. I think a lot of that is still going to be in banger formats where he is laying 2.8 hits per game right now, but obviously starting to get owned in standard formats as well. the 7th-round rookie started the year with absolutely no power play time, and the role just continues to expand rapidly. He went from no power play time to now he's on the top power play unit. He started just averaging 14 minutes per game in his first 4 games. He's now logged over 18 and a half minutes in 4 of his last 5 games. So the usage is climbing dramatically. To see him on the top power play unit is great. He enters week 4 on a 4-game point streak. He has 3 goals, 2 assists, and then he also has 8 points in his last 8 games, 4 goals, 4 assists. So he's been great over the last couple weeks. I don't anticipate that he maintains his 23.5 shooting percentage for the entire season, but it's entirely possible that he stays red hot here in the short term. So I like him as a short-term option. I also think he has the ability to be a long-term option. Again, he's not going to score at that same level, but he's going to be productive, especially if he continues to skate with Dylan Larkin, especially if he continues to stay on that top power play unit, which I imagine he will right now while Patrick Kane is sidelined. But as soon as Kane's back, he'll be bumped back. But hopefully at least has carved out enough of a power play role to be on power play 2 moving forward if he does turn into that long-term option for you. So really like Finney. I also like Marco Kasper. I've talked about him a lot, and he, I much prefer Finney right now, but if he's not available, Kasper at just 12% definitely should be. He, expectations for me at least were very high for him after a very strong finish to last season. Plus, I've talked about a lot how him, DeBrincat, Patrick Kane had very good underlying metrics together last year, but only shot like 6% together. So I expected a little bit of positive regression there. And if you've watched Red Wings games, Alex DeBrincat can't catch a break right now, post after post, and just get robbed. So I feel like Kasper, his numbers probably aren't completely indicative of how he's played thus far. He's been on the ice for 5 goals this season, but has only recorded 1 point. His on-ice shooting percentage in all situations, including the power play, is just 6.7%. That's a rate that's going to climb. So I think the points are going to start flowing here for Marco Kasper. Anybody that drafted him is probably pretty disappointed. Some have definitely already moved on as the own percentage has plummeted to 12%. But I think that there's an opportunity here, especially with some of these matchups this week, for Kasper to see that positive regression set in and really start picking up some points. Let's move on to the New York Islanders, who they have a lot of options, and I think the offense has been better than most people expect, especially that game against the Red Wings. So they've got some decent options, but none of them really are elite pickups this week. I think Anders Lee is interesting. He's only 16% rostered. He is on the 3rd line, but he's got really strong underlying metrics skating with Pajot and Simon Holmstrom, but is averaging just around 14 and a half minutes per game. So I don't love the usage, but he still managed to rack up 8 points in 8 games, including 2 goals. And what's really nice about Lee, very good shot volume. He's averaging 2.9 shots on goal, 1.3 hits, so he can contribute in those extended formats as well. So I like the category coverage. I think he's a consistent threat to score. I just wish he played a little bit more, but the shot volume is still really steady. Even in a reduced role, I think he's a fine play. I think my preferred target is Kyle Palmieri, seeing much more usage, right? He's always been kind of a favorite streaming target of mine because he's almost always available. He's always around 7-10%. He's 7% right now, and he's always consistently provided really nice shot volume. And this season, the volume has actually reached another level. He's it's probably due to the fact that his usage has jumped up to 20 plus minutes per game, which is phenomenal. He's averaging 6.1 shot attempts per game. 3.1 of those shots are getting on goal. So I think he's got one of the most underrated workloads among some of these widely available forwards, not just streaming targets, but the usage, the shot volume is great. So I like Palmieri's chances of chipping in a couple goals this week. A little bit more than I do Lee. I just think the usage is so much better. Then they've got some really deep league options. You've got Jonathan Drouin, who's playing big minutes on that top line with Bo Horvat. He's also on that top power play unit as well. And he's kind of the complete opposite of Kyle Palmieri and Anders Lee. He is a crafty playmaker that offers almost no shot volume. So probably more of like a points league or categories league play here, like where assists and power play production contribute. He's not going to shoot the puck a lot. He's probably unlikely to score a goal. He's averaged just 15 goals per 82 games over the last 4 seasons. So that kind of shows what he offers in terms of a goal scoring ceiling. But he does average 41 assists per 82 games over the last 4 seasons. So that's a clear reflection of kind of his past first game. He's seeing big minutes. He's on the top power play. He's on the top line. So I think that in leagues where helpers and or assists and power play production are bonus points or a category of their own, I think Strome makes sense there. But just you got to kind of know what you're getting here and know that the ceiling is pretty limited. And then again, if they're gone by Friday, this is a Friday Sunday schedule for the Islanders. They're 2 late night games, so if you need to get desperate, if the Emmett Finneys and the Marco Kaspers are gone, Emil Heineman at 14%, JG Pajot, Anthony Duclair, Simon Holmstrom, all okay fallback options, but not ones that I expect to have major ceilings. The final team we're going to talk about is the Anaheim Ducks. Now, they're in a weird situation because they got a couple of injuries that you're going to have to worry about. They've also got some players that shouldn't be as low owned as they are, so they might be available in your league. They might not be. The Ducks have Leo Carlsson at 40% rostered. I don't know if it's just his strict center eligibility that's keeping his roster percentage down, but he's a great pickup. He is not a short-term ad. He is a long-term pickup. Obviously, he's going to help you in the short term, but long-term, I think he's got staying power on your roster. He has 9 points in 8 games this year, while averaging over 19 minutes per game. And really, when you look at the underlying metrics, there's nothing to suggest that this production is unsustainable. He is a capable point-per-game player. And I don't think that you need to look any further than the fact that he finished on a near point per game pace last year. And if you add his finish to last year and the start of this year, over his last 40 games, he has 38 points. He's on a 29 goal, 49 assists, 78 point pace over a full season. So the last half of a hockey season that he's played, he's been near a point per game player. Obviously, the center position is deep, but maybe you make a trade and trade away a bigger name center if Carlson's still available on your waiver wire to clear the way. Pick up a winger, pick up a defenseman, pick up a goalie with a better name or bigger name center to make room for Leo Carlsson as a strict center, because I think you need to make room for him on your roster if he's somehow still available. But again, available in 60% of leagues. So he's out there. Troy Terry enters week 4 as hot as maybe anybody. He's currently only 16% rostered. He has scored goals in 3 straight games. He's got 6 points in his last 4 games. And he's just kind of been wildly underappreciated for how good he's been over the last 5 seasons, kind of similar to like a Nick Schmaltz. He's averaged 66 points, 28 goals, 38 assists per 82 games during those 4 seasons. So I've always liked him as a streaming option. I think he's got longer term upside. It depends where he kind of lands in the lineup. As I mentioned, the Ducks are really deep right now. They're able to roll kind of 3 lines really effectively. With some of the injuries we've seen, with especially the most recent one to Mikael Granlund, Terry saw some time on the top line. He saw some time on the second line, saw some time on the third line. So keep an eye on where he lands in the lineup. Either way, he's been productive lately. Frank Petrano, he's at 38% rostered, and that's just heavily rostered based on banger leagues only, because he's great in those extended formats. But he has just 1 assist in 8 games. His usage is way down. He's below 13 minutes a night, but he's still a volume hound. He makes the most of his limited minutes. 2.4 shots on goal, 3.8 shot attempts, and 3.4 hits per game. So very strong peripherals make him a name worth considering, even with that modest usage. But I think I'm more interested in some of these other names. Like, obviously, if a Toronto is available in banger leagues, which I can't imagine he is, he's a great pickup there, but that would be kind of it. But the names to consider as well in Anaheim are Mikael Granlund, who is off to a great start to the season, but again, got hurt in their most recent game, so you'll want to make sure he's healthy before picking him up. Chris Kreider, he's also been battling illness. He's missed a couple of games now, so you'll want to monitor his status before using an ad on him, but he's a guy that had a nice start to the season, really helping that power play out, so I think you can consider him if he's healthy. And then Beckett Seneca, 8% owned. He's really cooled down after a blistering start to the season. We've also seen his usage decline a bit in recent games. There's also the chance, especially if Chris Kreider comes back, especially if Mikael Granlund is healthy, Seneca is not immune to getting sent down, right? He's at 8 games, so they could definitely elect to send him down. So he has a little bit more risk around him. If for whatever reason the Ducks come out and say, hey, he's not going anywhere, I like him as a pickup. I think he's got tremendous upside. We saw it early in the season, but we also, have to recognize that he's cooled down. He's still a rookie. He's still only 8 games into his NHL career, and he doesn't quite have the same floor as the rest of these Ducks streamers. So I like the Anaheim Ducks. They got a lot of options. some more available than others, but I think you got your pick of the litter here between the Blue Jackets, the Red Wings, the Islanders, and the Ducks. They're the only ones, as I mentioned, with 2 late night games. Just to pull up an idea, if you want to try to get a little bit creative, the raw strength of schedule, the Blue Jackets, the best strength of schedule overall, but the best opponent rating this week, outside of the Florida Panthers, who only have 2 games, you don't want to go there, is the Ottawa Senators. They got a game tonight against the Bruins. They also got a game tomorrow in Chicago. Some really good matchups to start the week. If you have somebody, like I picked up Dylan Cousins in a really competitive league over the weekend, 2 competitive leagues actually. So he's out there, like he's somebody that's been really playing well, and you might want to start him over some of the guys that might be off to a bit of slower starts, even on these really busy nights. Tuesday 60 games, Thursday 11, and Saturday 13. But the matchups are really, really good this week for the Ottawa Senators. So take a look. If somebody like Dylan Cousins is out there for you, like he was in one of my leagues, then I think he makes for a strong pickup, and you might want to play him over somebody that was already on your roster. But anyways, that is going to do it for this edition of the DFO Fantasy Show. As always, every Monday, we bring you the strength of schedule. We bring you the streaming targets. Tuesday, we're joined by guests from around the league. Tomorrow, we're going to be joined by What Chaos hosts P. Blackburn, DJ Beam. They're going to come on. They're going to talk. We're going to build a 16-game parlay for tomorrow's 16-game slate. Should be a lot of fun having them on. Wednesday, we got Waiver Wire Wednesday with Beebs, and Thursday, we've got the weekend streaming preview, which we kind of already did. You kind of know what's coming up, but we're going to break it down even further, get into some of the in-depth names over the weekend, because we've got a couple teams with that Friday, Sunday schedule. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Smash that like button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you never miss anything here at the DFO Fantasy channel. Also, if you're a gambler or DFS player, we've got a live DFS show every single day at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. And then we also have Matthew Barnaby providing betting content, as it is Carter Hutton. So smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, tune in here at the DFO Fantasy channel all season long. Thanks. Thanks for watching this video. If you want more great fantasy hockey and betting content from myself, Carter Hutton, Matthew Barnaby, and the rest of the DFO analysts, make sure you subscribe to the DFO Fantasy and Betting YouTube channel today and never miss a minute.